Guys, welcome back to We Talk Money. I'm your host, Chris Dunn. We got Travis and our homie, the most handsome startup founder in America, Noah Kagan, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, guys. I was top 10 Jewish good-looking of the southeast region of Austin. 1995.
That is a very competitive category. Oh my God, man. Thanks.
Everyone can win a category.
Yeah,
Everyone can win a category. That's business and life.
Everybody can be a bestseller.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. What is this thing, by the way?
Well, I was asking you guys, how is it to be millionaires? Let's real talk, because we're talking money.
Okay. Trav, kick it off, man.
Okay. Number one, pretty great.
Pretty great.
Because of the stress that it really helps to like reduce in your life. For me, like I did not grow up coming from money or coming from, status or privilege. And so like I had student loans coming out of school. My whole thing though was like, I went to school, did finance. I was like, I'm going to be $1 billion hedge fund manager. So I don't ever have to worry about like, spending money to go on vacation or whatever. And I hit like the $1 million level before 30. And it was interesting too, because I did it via like W-2. I did it via just like working a job.
What was the job?
Working at a hedge fund as an analyst.
I guess you could call that a job.
Like, yeah. But when that happened, and I was able to pay off my student loans, like I think the second year when I got my bonus, and the increase in life quality at that first like milestone was so huge for me because it really reduced stress. Like I used to go around when I was like a kid as a teen, worrying about if I could replace a part on my truck, if I got into like an accident or if my tire blew out. And being able to not worry about that completely tanking my, my day-to-day life was like huge. But then like once you go beyond that, after a couple of years, you're like, okay, that doesn't define happiness. It doesn't like actually create day-to-day happiness. It just like, I think in my opinion, reduce a lot of like stress factors. Tell me
about your house. Because if you have a rich house, that's day-to-day happiness that now your life upgraded is on a new, y-axis.
Yeah, but I don't know. A house is a house though. Like if it's $100,000 house and it's small and it's shitty, probably not. But like an average house nowadays is probably pretty solid. Like,
yeah, I'm just saying that having the money to afford that and not making an issue really does so money does buy happiness.
True.
Literally by what we're talking about. I think it's.
I don't know. I think like you could be in a pretty dark place and still have a lot of money. Your relationships could be terrible. You could have, health problems and still be rich, right? So
how has money made you happy?
Let me tell you about today.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, I went to Walgreens, we were talking about earlier, and I got my passport photos taken. And it was for 2 for me and 8 for my girlfriend. It was $85.
Really?
And I think the difference for me and maybe others, I don't know, I feel like I fucking have worked so hard to get this money. And I was like, $85, like I will buy the printer at Office Max, wherever you get a printer, Amazon, print my own photos and then start a $1 million business selling photos because that's ridiculous.
You really are Jewish.
I'm Jewish, and I'm, because I've earned all these dollars myself, one by one, with a team and with, not just alone, but I've had to earn it. So spending it, it's like, I want to feel like it's worth it. But, I think a lot of $1 million weekend to get rich, just look for things that inconvenience you. Why couldn't someone come to my house, take these photos, charge me $50? Why do I have to drive somewhere to even get my photos taken? Kind of business opportunity. Anyways, being a multimillionaire, I don't know. I think there's a big disconnect in that I didn't really ever enjoy the money, even when I had millions. It's only in the past few years where I'm spending it. I'm like, yo, this is great.
Is that something that you've just allowed yourself to do where before you were just like always in work mode, or what changed?
Well, 2 things. One, I do wonder for all of us, like if we went back like today, someone hacked our accounts, which we'll talk about. Someone hacks our accounts. We can't afford our mortgage. We have to live in like an 800 square foot house. That was my last house. We can all live together. We can each be roommates. I wonder how we'd feel. Like, I think we know we could create it again and we have the skill, which is really interesting. But I wonder how, if we had to worry about like, shit, I can't order Uber Eats because it is actually expensive. Or groceries. We have to go to maybe, I don't know, like Fiesta in Austin to get it more. I wonder how we'd feel about ourselves. And I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, there's always there's the whole, idea that if you become rich and then you lose it, that it's way worse than never having been rich, and I think that's probably true. Like if you experience the lifestyle of, say, not worrying about where you're going to dinner or what your grocery bill is, or being able to fly first class or fly private, and then you'd have to get knocked down a peg and actually go back into flying coach, I think that your experience obviously would be much, much worse. Your unhappiness level would rise a lot if that happened. But yeah, I'm not sure. Like me 10 years ago or 20 years ago, like even though I was pretty poor, even while in college, I think I was still pretty happy overall. So I think it really maybe comes down to like where was your peak and like where are you from that peak maybe.
Yeah, I mean, so in terms of your question as well, I think you can test out rich life stuff. You can test being a millionaire for cheap. Like that's what Airbnb is. You can test having your own driver, Uber. You can test getting a private chef, DoorDash. You can test fancy cars, Turo. And then you get to decide which stuff you actually want. And for me, for me, when COVID happened, I went and rented a $25,000 Malibu beach house. Neville came and lived with me.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, this is sick. Like I've never had a nice house. Like growing up, we lived middle class, like couldn't have friends over. My parents were very strict. So I didn't really thought you could have cool houses. And then I lived in always like pretty crappy places. So when I tried it out, I was like, yo, it's much cooler to have a nice house. And I love having people over. I love every day waking up and I'm like, I can't believe I get to live here. So I think in terms of enjoying it, it was trying different things out when COVID hit and noticing like, hey, everyone's talking about making it. No one's talking about enjoying it. And so I tried these things and then it was like, I'm actually going to start spending more money.
So was COVID that trigger then that kind of flipped you from feeling like, you weren't really like enjoying wealth to like being like, oh, this is actually great. And I have a kind of a different outlook on things.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of things for other people out there. Cause I think what I assume is, most of the audience, do you think they have the money or they don't have the money? Cause 99% of content is to get the money. Because no one wants to hear fucking content about like, they want to see fake people pretend to be rich, but they don't want to hear like, oh, here's rich stuff. Cause they're like, fuck, I don't have that yet.
Right.
And so that's why a lot of the material is around how to create those types of things.
Well, let's talk about that. So I would say you've made it, right? You've built a business that generates tens of, how many millions? Are you over 100 million in revenue now, or
this year we should hit 100 million revenue in AppSumo,
dude? Yes.
Thanks you. I was by the way, I was just as happy when we hit a few million. I was just happy when we hit 300,000. It's the same with $1 Million Weekend for me. This is the weirder context. I was almost happier before the book came out in terms of the book because I just like the work.
So now that it's over, it's kind of like you finished a video game, or
it's the beginning of now promotions and talking about it and other pieces of it. But I think I just enjoyed what I was doing. I was just enjoying working on a book. I was enjoying meeting people who want to start businesses. I was enjoying doing free workshops. And I think this is a misconception with money where it's like, oh, I got to make money and then live. It's like, no, why don't you live and make money?
Yeah.
So it's like, do the thing that makes money and you're enjoying it. And then, by a byproduct, the money's starting to come in, but you're just like, I like how I'm living. That's what AppSumo was.
So that's what I wanted to ask you, because I was like, why is he doing the book and the YouTube and like all this shit? Because it's like you said, a lot of people do the content to get money, and they create books, they create courses to make money. And I'm like, well, I'm sure there's revenue that comes from this, but like, you don't really need it, right? Like, what is the driving purpose for this? Huh?
I mean, I don't know I don't necessarily, I don't get rich off books. So people that are YouTubers that just sell books to get rich or present that, I think it's questionable. Like I run a business. That's how I'm rich.
Yeah.
I'm not selling them my course on how to get rich, and that's how I'm getting rich. For me, the book and YouTube, I lost in the past 3 years about $250,000 each invested, not lost, but invested in terms of the team and like travel and expenses to run the channel. And then same with the book, I got almost $1 million advance. So to be like, oh, you got $1 million for the book. That's not true, because the agent takes 15. Tal Roz, who's one of the best writers on the planet, he takes a lot. And then there's taxes, and then you don't get the money up front. You get it in 4 chunks. So after that, and then marketing, promotion, there's not much to show. And I don't even know what I get paid per book. Someone's like, how much? I don't know, because I'm not making money on the book. Maybe I will. I don't know. That's not my intent.
Was there an end goal with that? And like with YouTube, because you're putting what seems like a ton of time and effort in the YouTube thing.
The simple answer is I enjoy it. I like it. I like that it gives me an excuse to come talk to you guys about money. I like that it puts me in a place where I'm meeting interesting people. I like marketing. I like building communities. And it's just enjoyable while I'm on this planet for the next, 100 years. So that's the short answer of why I do it.
Has it changed at all? Like now that, for YouTube, for instance, now that you guys are approaching like almost 1 million subscribers, right? Is there a new endpoint now, seeing what could be or how big you could be? Like, is the Mr. Beast level of, of YouTuber?
To be at those levels, I don't think life is actually very enjoyable. You don't have a life. Your life is the work. And then you die in a box. And guess what? No one's going to fucking give two shits about Mr. Beast in probably 15 years. Maybe even, and no knock on him. The guy is impressive.
Yeah.
Let's just say 100 years. He is forgotten. Elon Musk, 1,000 years. Forgotten. 100%. Name our second president.
So does it
No,
come
hold on.
to
Name our second president.
Travis? You're like college.
There's like
grad.
Washington,
Like
John
Andrew
Adams,
Jackson,
right?
No, I don't know.
Michael Jackson.
Yeah, one of those Jacksons.
That's our president of our country. We don't know shit, right? So my whole point with that is that find things you're just enjoying while this is going on.
Yeah,
and if you're so obsessed with work to get money, good, get the money, but find some balance where you're like, I just like doing these things. And so for YouTube, a few pieces of it, we got to 1 million subs, and I have a plaque, and it's still in the box. You can see when you walk in my house, you're like, dude, isn't that the box? I'm like, yeah, I don't give a shit about it. That's not why I did it. And I think when you start doing it just for these external accolades or this external, if I had this wealth and people are going to like me, no, they won't. You still probably suck. Or no, they won't. They don't like who you are. Like, just like yourself. I know that's not the thing people want to hear, but that's it. And with YouTube, how do I just do content? And this is the thing that people need to think about in making $1 million business. How do I do things that I like and people want? Because if you just do things people want, you won't last. Because if they don't like it, you'll flame out. And if you just do what you want, no one's going to give you any money. No one's going to give you any attention. So for my intent with content is, how do I do what I want and what people like, and I can sustain it for 10 years? That's how long success takes. And so with YouTube, we just put out a video today. It's our worst video in a long time. And I'm happy. I'm okay. Because I do think it's good content for our audience. Maybe we're not doing exactly what they wanted, but I liked it as well. And so it does fit that Venn diagram, and I'm proud of it. So as long as I'm proud, maybe the output, the score isn't what I want, but then I'm going to go again and again and again. I got 10 years. What's the rush?
I think we got this from Tim Ferriss originally, the whole concept of like perfect average day. Do you think of it like that, or have you ever done that exercise?
What were you wondering when you say that?
So I'm wondering if you backed into doing YouTube from that. Like, it's like, what do I want my days to look like?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I want to like walk up to rich people's houses and knock on the door.
No, that
like,
sucks. Those videos suck. I'm trying not to do those anymore.
Why? Is that just stressful as hell to do that?
It's a lot of anxiety. I think it shows people that they can do it too, even though I'm this rich person that does it. And I'm proud of myself after I've done it.
Yeah.
But I don't think I'm getting as much out of doing those moving forward. And it's not sustainable in terms of like, it creates so much anxiety. So it creates a lot of anxiety. And it's just like, there's other ways I can do content and be present for my family and not be as stressed.
Okay.
And what's interesting about that, and I can talk about my perfect day and help people find theirs. When I go on shows and when I've gone out, people only ask me about interviewing billionaires. No one asks, like, I stood outside an airport for 48 hours to try to get on a private jet. They don't, like, oh, no one cares. It got watched a lot, but no one really cares about that. And also, they don't know who I am. They just know there's some bald, Jewy, pointed ear guy with earrings. And they're like, oh, I don't know who he is, but that's kind of a cool video. Mm-hmm. And so the content we're moving forward with is the billionaire category works really well. So we're doing that. And then my own unique stories around running AppSumo, which no one else can do that content. Right. But in terms of the perfect day, I think everyone needs to just look at their calendar on the end of the week and reflect back. So so today, at the end of the day, I do a survey. Like, how was my week 1 through 5 and why? And then, was my emotional behavior consistent 1 through 5 and why? And then, what are the 3 things I want to do next week? Like, the coolest part about being rich is really controlling your time. Right. That's the best part. It really is. But honestly, there's days where I'm like, why the fuck am I doing this? And so then it's like
what kind of activities like give you that? Like, what am I doing?
So every Sunday, everyone can look. I think this is such an easy exercise. Look at your calendar Sunday night. How do you feel? And which parts are you like, dude? And then which parts are you like, bro? You guys see Dude, Where's My Car? Yeah, of course. How does that hurt? Yeah. And so on Monday mornings, I journal every Monday morning, and I always write. I try to just do it from memory. What am I looking forward to this week? And if there's not stuff in that week, I'm like, oh, that's cool. I can change that. And so there's Sunday and then these Monday moments kind of help keep reinforcing. But yeah, there's times where I'll tell you, next week, for instance, there's a show and they want me to travel to come to the show. And I was like, fuck no. Not in a bad way. I'm like, I don't need more attention. How much is it ever enough? And that's a whole separate discussion. But for you guys, I would have driven to Dallas, maybe halfway. I had no problem driving. To see you guys was fun. I looked forward to it no matter what. And so it's like, how do I just craft more of that in your week?
Yeah. What things are you enjoying the most right now in terms of your week?
What do I really enjoy? I'm enjoying certain shows that I go on. I like talking about running AppSumo and promoting software deals, or talking about my $1 Million Weekend book with cool people. Like, and I get to connect with cool people. Some shows are really great. And so now that the book is out, I can be a little more selective. In the beginning, I was being more like, okay, if you have 100 reviews, I'll do your show. So I'd say certain shows, like I was just on this guy, Michael Trainer, just a cool guy. And I was like, oh, that was fun to chat with him. And it helps promote the stuff I'm doing. Like, that's great. Yeah. Being around fucking impressive people is so damn impressive. It's so damn fun too. Like an hour after the show, I hired this guy, Jay Yang. He's 17. He's almost 18. And now I hired him full time to do all my social media and emails. And he's in high school. He lives with his parents.
Wow. That's
and
cool.
he came out for the book launch and he's like, can you fly my dad out too? And I was like, dude, hell yeah. And the guy's he's better than me. At 18, the guy gets these things. And yet there's things I'm more savvy and experienced in other ways. And I get to be with him and we're going to talk about the social media and marketing moving forward. That was really fun. Yesterday I worked on my autoresponder. You know the email autoresponders?
Yeah.
I spent an hour and a half really trying to dial in, working backwards from the historical autoresponders and broadcast emails we've sent over the past 2 years, and then thinking about, okay, what's the optimal sequence to get people excited to be a part of Noah Kagan world at noahkagan.com. That was great.
That was just like, for your personal autoresponder?
Yeah, that was super fun. Yeah. Or at AppSumo, yesterday I was in a meeting about our affiliate program. Our affiliate program makes money back week 0, which is not normal in anything in online marketing. And so we had a conversation. It's like, why are we not literally hiring like 100 people for this? Okay, cool. What's the plan? What's the timeline? Great. So I think it's more, am I learning? Am I doing things that I'm curious about? Am I around interesting people? I think, and each week can shift. I do notice I'm getting older. I'm like, hey, I like doing these things. Just keep doing those things more versus always each week trying to be so different.
Do you think that you'll be running AppSumo in 10 years, or do you guys anticipate selling the business at some point? How are you thinking about AppSumo?
Yeah. I did an interesting exercise inspired by, Tynan.com? Yeah. You guys know Tynan? I love Tynan. It's one of my best friends in the world. Be around optimistic people and get a good wife or husband. Those are easy hacks that everyone can do. Tynan's one of the best friends I have, and he's always super optimistic. And he inspired me a while ago. He's like, write your predictions in the next 10 years with probabilities. And it was really, even if you don't care, if you do it once and never look at it again, it was really fascinating to think about what I think will be true for my own life in 10 years. And so one of them related to you guys was, I think crypto will be $100,000 in 10 years.
Crypto or Bitcoin?
Bitcoin.
Okay.
Bitcoin. I was like, oh, where did that go? I didn't even know where that came from, but that's what I was like.
Might be a little quicker than 10 years. We'll see.
Yeah.
Okay. But that was one of them. And I was like, I think that can happen with 70% probability. Relating to your AppSumo question, and it was just like, wow, in 10 years, I think I would more likely be chairperson.
Yeah.
Or chairwoman. I don't know what's going to happen to me in 10 years.
Yeah.
Do you guys want an exit? Like,
no.
You just want to keep this like a
forever
cash machine?
Until I die.
Okay.
And then hopefully someone else keeps doing it. It's not even just that having a cash machine. Yes, it does make money. Yes, we can take the whole team to Mexico. Yes, like people now make 7 figures getting to work there. Like, that's cool. Yeah. That's great. Our customers like it. Our partners like it. It's fun.
Yeah.
But selling it, let's say we exit for 300 million. I think we could probably exit for 300 million, which is great. I own about 60%. I need to get back to 69%, but it's only 60% right now.
Gotta get on that Elon game, huh?
And okay, then what? So now I get to fly private everywhere, which is great. And that's what I'd like.
Yeah.
But what do I do all day? I make YouTube videos. I talk about my book and I go promote stuff. That's what I'm doing literally now.
So to me, it sounds like you're living your perfect average day. Even if it's not every single day, it's like you're at least on the right path and you've optimized for a lot of things that are really important to you.
100%. I think the other thing is you've gotten money is that you really can pay for time.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to be really mindful lately where am I getting annoyed with myself or with my time? Like last night I was annoyed that I reply to almost every single DM and email myself. And that now with the book out and it's hard. And so I do want to try to get help. So I have an EA who started, and it's like, okay, I need you to write these emails or support me on doing that. And so I'm doing stuff on social media or email. It's like, I'm going to hire a chief of staff for noahkagan.com, like a CEO for noahkagan.com. It's like, I need you to tell me what shows you want me to go on. And then I don't have to worry. I like going on the show. I don't necessarily need to like prioritize a show. Think about when I go on certain shows, I'll like script out a lot of stuff I'm going to talk about. With friends, it's a little different, but I need them to kind of coordinate that. Great. So I'm trying to really think about where's my time being spent that I can just pay someone else for.
That is a huge benefit of having money, right? Is just leveraging other people's talents and getting rid of all the shit you don't want to do.
And to be clear, I think people think, oh, that's very capitalistic, which it is. But the whole point
So
is
what?
pay them literally disproportionate.
Yeah.
This kid in high school makes more than all his teachers. He makes more than the principal.
That's incredible.
Like, how fucking cool is that? Yeah, like, oh, you're taking it. Am I taking advantage of him or is he taking advantage of me?
No, that guy got a kickstart in life.
Yeah,
Oh,
dude,
yeah.
that guy's crushing. I hope he doesn't
yeah.
like kick me to the curb when I'm old. And so everyone can hire, and the thing is, you don't need a lot of money. You can hire Uber Eats. You're getting your own food delivery. But hiring an assistant, $20 an hour, is when you start realizing like the benefits of, And I see it with my girlfriend. She has a normal job stuff. She has a normal job. She has 2 of them, which is really impressive. 2 jobs. And I'm like, baby, we have a house manager now. And you can tell her to do things. She's like, yeah, but I'll drive. She drove half an hour to the store to pick up balloons for my birthday. And then it was 30 minutes to the store and then 30 minutes back. And I was like, she's like, I know, but it's like 40. We pay our house manager $40 an hour. She goes, it's $40. And I was like, I know, but in that hour and a half, is there anything else you wanted to do? So it's also a learned thing.
Yeah.
And so she hasn't had that experience yet.
Tell me more about this house manager. Like, what do they do for you? Just anything.
You haven't seen the video?
No.
Oh man, me and my wife got a kick out. You did a video a while back, maybe a couple years ago on the channel, where you walked through like your kitchen, like what was even in your fridge. You talked about like the kitchen manager, your house manager, what they do, how they help out, like what you spend on each one.
As I'm getting older and the amount of time available is more limited. Yes, maybe you can live, but I think at 100 for some of these people, it's not going to be enjoyable.
Right.
Maybe. I like to be optimistic. It could be. And so I'm trying to say, what are my top 3 things in life? What are my top 3? Right? So it's my family, number 1, AppSumo, number 2, and probably this YouTube book content. Obviously, myself is in there. And so anything around my house, like for example, I've had a painting that fell. It has been on the ground for months. That's not on my top 3.
Really?
Yeah, it's just on the ground. It's like, yes, could I do it? Totally. Do I want to spend my Saturday doing that? No, I don't work Saturdays. It's the Sabbath. Yeah. Right. I also don't use I don't check email. I don't check Slack, nothing on Saturdays. It's a day of rest, whatever religion you are. That's been on the ground. Or I had just so many different little products. I had I'm Jewish, but I got a Christmas tree. My girlfriend's not Jewishy. Jews, by the way, it's the only religion that's got an ish in it.
Yeah, like a spectrum.
It's
right?
like an ish, like Christian-ish. No one else is ish. I've had the Christmas tree. It's still out. It's February.
Okay.
I'm just like, I don't care. It's not part of my top 3. She can't. So my whole point though is that now I can say, hey, all these things that are not part of what I want to really spend my time. And it doesn't mean, and I think the whole point people miss, it's not just time making money. It's time also sitting on my ass.
Yeah.
It's time getting drunk. It's time with my girlfriend. It's time going for bike rides. So
It's an opportunity cost, no matter.
It really
what you're
is.
doing.
And mental cost. And this is something I'm working on, is that when I finish my workday, I don't want to be tired. I've been finishing my workday and I'm like drained because I've given it my all. And my girlfriend's like, save some for me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're right. So having an EA, having chiefs of staff, having executive assistants. By the way, it doesn't start that way. It starts with one person, and then over time you get to that level.
Yeah.
We have a shared Apple reminders. That's the complicated thing we use. That's just shared, and then we post on it and prioritize it, and then she'll go do those things. So my sauna needed to get the timer thing installed. We need to get Windows installed. That painting got to get put back up. The Christmas lights had to get put away. The Christmas tree had to get put away. I had it, like a stupid example even. I had a cooler that's just in the middle of the garage, or it's in the way of the garage. I don't care. Not on my top 3. So that's been there for a while, but then I just texted a photo of it, put it in the list. Now it's on the wall.
Wow, man, that's awesome. I guess
it's not to say that I'm lazy. No. Really
you're optimizing. I think that's what it is. Like, I kind of went the opposite direction. Like for me, I like being outside, and I was spending way too much time on my computer. So I bought a property with a bunch of land that required a tractor and chainsaws and shit like that. And so an average Saturday for me is going out there and swinging an axe or building something. So it's like I enjoy that. So I optimized for it.
Great.
So I think that's, going back to the millionaire question, that was my thing is like, I have a guy that I pay to help me with a lot of shit because a lot of it is above my skill level or my ability, but I still enjoy doing it. So I'm like, yeah, let's include that. All right. So optionality.
Yeah. The phrase you said that I hired a business coach. I have a bunch of different coaches. And one of the phrases we talk about is like, what are you optimizing for? So some people are like, I like putting up paintings. Mazel tov, do it. Hey, I like moving my coolers away. Go for it. Hey, like I want to deliver packages out there, or I want to return this thing, or I want to go pick up this stuff. Great. But just figure out what you're optimizing for.
Yeah.
And I haven't had a house manager for 2 months. This is my 4th one. So clearly there's a common denominator about why it's not working out, and it is nice to have someone back helping. Because it was like, I did have to do all that stuff and it was fine. It was fine to do a lot of it, but now it's much easier to have more space to really spend time with my girlfriend or myself or on the things I really want.
Love it. Let's talk about what do you do with your money? Like, and like, what goals do you have? We've got something right before we started recording that we were going to dive into, but I said, let's save it for the camera.
Okay.
How are you thinking about your wealth and your finances? And I know, if AppSumo stays successful forever, you're never going to have to worry about money, but like, let's say that went away tomorrow.
Yeah.
How do you think about the capital that you have? Are you investing? How do you think about how you're going to use that? What does true wealth and like financial freedom mean to you?
Yeah. In $1 Million Week, I talk about the freedom number, which was, how do I get enough to quit my job? Or at least have the option. Mm-hmm. And mine was 3,000. You guys said at the same time. And it's low. The thing that when people actually calculate their freedom number, it's just your cost of living, your house, food, and savings. And when you realize it's actually lower than you expected and it's more attainable than you realize, you can actually achieve it. And you're doing something ideally that you want to be doing to get that freedom number. Maybe it's a dental marketing practice. Maybe it's a teeth whitening business. Maybe it's services. Maybe it's software, whatever that is. And then ultimately, that's the thing that's led me to create all this wealth. That was what I did. I quit my job I was a product manager at a dating website. Started AppSumo while I was there. Once it got to my freedom number 3,000, I quit. I'm not risky. Risky was having a shitty life and doing a day job you don't like.
Right.
In terms of wealth, it's been, what is wealth?
Do you manage all of or most of your capital yourself, or do you also have people that do that?
Yeah.
Or help with that?
I think a few of my values or fundamentals is get so rich you don't have to worry about money.
And like, what does that mean?
How much is that? How much?
Yeah, yeah.
That's a great question.
And like, do you invest? Do you hold
Yeah.
in
So
cash?
one value is like, make so much you never have to worry about retiring. Do some work that you never have to retire from.
Yep.
One analysis that I do have we have a wealth advisor. So there's financial planners, and then when you get to $1 million and beyond, you get a wealth advisor. They just charge you more, same shit.
Has that opened up like new private investment opportunities? So there could be some benefits to that, perhaps.
They all sell you the same shit.
Yeah.
A lot of times. What I have found, mine, I don't think they mind shit. Sometimes they generally charge you how much assets under management, which I think is horse shit. I think it's crap.
Yeah.
I think it needs to be a fixed amount. But what I find valuable, I use Redbud advisors out here in Austin. And I won't share their amount. I think they give me a good deal. Is it's nice to have accountability. So every quarter, it's just like, hey, how's money going? And so in terms of my other two values, one, whatever I buy, I never sell. I buy and never sell. Like that's
and what do you buy in stocks?
I don't buy. So right now I just do the index fund. Okay. I stopped getting and my belief is that unless you're a professional, meaning you professionally focus on it, you're never going to beat people who are professionals.
We agree with that.
And so like I am a professional. I'm a professional running businesses, like specifically more online startups. And I would say professional in content creation. And I think it's gonna be pretty hard. There's gonna be a lot of winners, but I'm very good at just that. Now I'm not better at you. Like I buy stuff you recommend on stocks. I stopped doing that lately, but I try to let professionals focus on it. And if you look at the data, buy the index funds and leave it the fuck alone. I would say other values. This is the interesting thing. My wealth advisor, Adam, was like, hey, do you know if you stopped making any money today, like you literally lost your job, I guess you fired yourself, you literally you can cash out $20,000 a month and live till 90.
Nice. So you've done the math of, you can have a safe withdrawal rate and then never have to work again.
Yeah, literally from today, stop 20,000 a month and you have it to at least 90. Maybe it's beyond that by now. So then if I can just live a lifestyle that's within 20K, how cool is that?
Yeah.
That was like, I was surprised when he told me because I haven't really focused on that. And like, I don't know, like I did a CNBC show about Make It. They verify all your numbers, tax returns, bills. I didn't know how much I'm even spending a month. Like they said, supposedly I'm spending 20 to 40,000. I think it's more closely to 25 on my personal, not businessy.
I think that's right.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't even know that. But again, I
mean, we're in Austin, man. Shit's expensive.
Yeah, that number doesn't shock me at all.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm shocked by it because that's post-tax money. Anyways, I think in terms of all these different things, it didn't happen this way, right? I lived insanely cheap from all my 20s. Like probably cheaper than you can imagine. Like I lived on floors for a year, like literal floors. Then I lived in my mom's house 2 years. I lived in my aunt's house, my aunt's basement for a year. And then it was just like trying and trying and trying. Finally at 30, it was like, oh, AppSumo worked. And I had a $500 a month rent place. And then over time, these costs in this lifestyle then added up.
Yeah. So we've been talking recently about this concept that we call the escape velocity portfolio. So it's like step one, you identify what your dream lifestyle costs.
Yeah.
So for you, say it's $250 a year. And what returns do you need to basically have no income, live that lifestyle, and even withdrawing that $250, you continue to grow wealth. It's like you've hit escape velocity. So I think that's something that, a lot of people like strive to get to, but they never get there because they're working a job they hate or they're up and down with their finances. And this is where I thought the book was really dope. It's like, here's how to actually stop wasting fucking time, validate an idea, and get sales
today,
fast.
Today.
Right? How many people have you run into? And I mean, I've had this conversation a bunch too with, you call them entrepreneurs, right?
Entrepreneur curious is our motto. We're a little bit more positive. I'm trying to be optimistic. That's why I don't say poor. I say small rich.
Small rich.
Because then they can get to big rich one day.
Yeah. Spending 6 to 12 months on your logo and website rather than like, does this thing even sell? Like, so that's what the book I think is at its core trying to get people to do is like, to me, it's like, stop wasting time. Just go get a damn sale. Right.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if hedge fund, did you like your life with the hedge fund stuff?
Yes and no.
Yeah. Because if you liked it, you probably would have stayed.
I really enjoy the research work, which is why, I still basically do that now for myself and for our community. But there's a lot of other bureaucratic BS that comes along with working at a hedge fund and a lot of stuff that you have to do that you don't like. So yeah, there were parts of the job I really liked a lot and I still want to do now. But
I love what at least the one you put out publicly. I don't know what's in the community. It's like the good stuff, but I love the research you do. And what's interesting is like, that's you being an entrepreneur, doing the same thing you actually wanted to do, but for yourself. And I think when you think about crypto, and we can talk about like, I follow asset allocation. That's how I run my money. The thing that's interesting is that if you look at all these different assets you can invest in, they're all kind of passive-ish, but I think the best way to get rich is active income. Like that's how you really get rich. Like, I think these passive income wealth, you get rich at 60, which just sucks, right? Like you can maybe get to your first class seat, but it's going to take you a while to walk there. Like I think it's much cooler to be richer at 40. I think 20 rich is unrealistic unless you start early. I think you have to start at like 15, which is possible, but most people don't.
Yeah.
And what's interesting on entrepreneurship is that the cost to start is low, the risk to start is low, and the upside is just unlimited. It's unlimited. Like that's the coolest fucking part about it. Like the best return on crypto, Bitcoin specifically, is whatever Bitcoin returns.
If you treat it as a passive investment.
Yes. Yeah. And so, but if you're actually an entrepreneur, maybe you're teaching Bitcoin courses, maybe you're creating content around it, maybe you create software around it, maybe it's community around it, and you entrepreneur it, then there's like no limit to that return. And it's also more in your control than you're checking the markets each day to see how it does. And I think if people can separate out their active income from a passive income approach, they have a bigger dial of wealth they can be creating for themselves.
We think about it in terms of like ROT, return on time.
Love
like
that.
What can you do every day that gets the best return for every hour you put in?
Love that.
And in most cases, it's building a business. It's being an entrepreneur, because even as like an active trader, my returns are capped, right? Like even if I'm swing trading or day trading Bitcoin or crypto or whatever, like that is capped. And so I'm like, I'm going to put 90% of my time into building our business, our wealth building community, or whatever other businesses I can partner in. And then the 10, 15, 20% that I put into trading, investing, and managing my wealth, that gets a much higher return. But yeah, the best returns you'll ever get are investing in yourself, right?
Yeah. And what I'd encourage, I'm guessing a lot of your audience, how many think are now independently wealthy? Or how many people have day jobs in your audience or have jobs?
I would guess the majority do.
Yeah, that's what I would think. So what I would encourage everyone to get is job insurance. Have you heard about this?
Ooh.
It's called entrepreneurship. But here's the problem. If you have a day job, you might have a significant other. You maybe have hobbies. You maybe don't have a lot of time to fuck around with it, or you are fucking around. And the reality, and they're like, well, shit, where do I even start? Just look at what you did in your day job. Start there. And then look who's around you and start there. And I don't think people realize like that's how it actually can start. I think people think there's more courses and complicated offers and funnels and then other things they have to learn when they're probably more prepared than they expect. And just like you had the experience of your day, then you just started doing it yourself. And eventually now it's generating great returns all for you. And same with me. I was doing, marketing at mint.com. I was doing products at Facebook. And I was like, I kept trying different things, kept failing, kept trying, kept failing, kept failing, kept trying. And eventually it was like, I could do promotion for software companies. That's what AppSumo.com became.
I love the quote that you put in the book. Don't be afraid to act. Be afraid of living a life that seems more like a resume than an adventure. What does that mean to you? Like, how can somebody like implement that in their life?
That's what people talk about millionaires and money, but you can live a millionaire lifestyle for low cost. That's just the reality of it. Like in Barcelona, where we split half the year, our apartment is €1,050.
Nice.
It's not a huge apartment. It's got 1.5 bedrooms and we're living a baller life out there. And I think most people are saying, I'm going to wait until X for this to happen. But if they actually started today, I would challenge in 5 years, they could look back and think, wow, I didn't realize, thank God I started today. I'm thanking my 5 years ago self. Ooh. And what that means, thank yourself today for starting, because one person will. And in 5 years, what are you going to thank yourself for today? I thank myself every day that I started 15 years ago. And the whole life as an adventure is that most people are afraid. And most people know the thing they're afraid of. They actually know. Maybe it's a relationship. Maybe it's facing drugs. Maybe it's facing like their health. Maybe it's facing their work. And they probably know that they could do it, but it's easier just to kind of go the way they're going. And I challenge everyone to think about what they're most afraid of. And when they actually face it, I always see two things. It's never as scary as it seems. And they don't have to do some big thing. I don't like this David Goggins approach. Like, I got to run 2,000 fucking miles or you're a pussy. Like, that's crazy. Like, yes, maybe you need a spark and that's okay. But like, why don't you just go for a walk around the block? And I don't think people realize they can actually get started today. They can get started right now in all these different dreams, health, fitness, work. So it's easier to start today than they realize. And it's easier to start and it's not as hard as they think. It really is not. And the reward is always better than they expected. That's the reality. And that's what living a life, what you actually want versus what you think you're supposed to be doing. Like most of us are born in lanes. Like sounds like you were born in a certain lane. You're born in, I'm like, I guess this is where I'm supposed to stay in my lane. But then when you start listening to guys like yourselves, you start maybe meeting other people. You're like, oh, maybe there's other lanes that I could get to that actually, it's how I want to live, and go try them out. And then you can make a decision for yourself.
No, this resonates pretty deeply with me. This year for me is about addressing a lot of the things that I've been not facing over the last couple of years, particularly with like my YouTube channel, for instance, and things like that where I know I've underperformed, and it's like, what have I been scared? I'm a perfectionist, or I overthink things, or and for me, it's just like, I just need to do more volume of content.
But
and so
hold on, can we pause for that for a second?
Sure.
What are you really afraid of?
Being judged, I guess.
Ooh.
I don't know. Or putting content out and nobody giving a shit. I think that's part of it too. I don't know. But
Hold on, keep going.
No, is this a therapy session now?
Yeah. It all comes down to like stuff like that, feeling worthy, feeling loved. Like even with my book, like it came out, hit number 16 all Amazon, hit New York Times bestseller, and then it's like every day dropping. And every day I'm like, am I still worthy? Does anyone fucking love me? Like, Mom, she's like, no, you're 16, now you're 100. I used to love you. I love your brother better now. And I think if we can how do we find worthiness in ourselves, regardless of this external approval, right? It's nice to get approval. That's bullshit. People will say it doesn't matter. That's full of shit. But balancing a need for it with also finding our own pride of work. So I guess I wonder how you're reflecting on it and how you're thinking of approaching that.
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, there's like a psychological component of that, and then there's also like the practical side of it too, which is like something I've also been trying to dial in. It's like, okay, how do I create better habits for myself so that like I just go in, turn on a camera, be able to, do something in 30 minutes rather than thinking about it for 6 days and then, not getting it done.
Yeah.
That's something actually I've improved on a lot in the last, I would say 6 to 12 months, just like structuring my day better. Things like that. But then, from a psychological perspective, there's definitely like still some doubt, some fear in there. But no, that's why like this conversation today is like, I think great for me, but also great for the audience. Cause I know there's a lot of people that share that same desire, but not
They're
actually
afraid. We're all afraid. Everyone's afraid.
Yeah.
We don't want to call it fear though, right? I don't think people want to acknowledge that. So I appreciate you sharing. I think the thing is, the answer though, but you still haven't done it. So that's the part I'm curious about.
And how do you mean?
I mean, you say like, I know I'm afraid, I know these things, and you know that there's an answer to it, and you know your answer, but you still haven't done that. So I guess I was curious how come.
I don't know. What do you think?
I think it's, like Trav said the thing. I think he's very much an A student, like he's a perfectionist. And a lot of times that gets in the way of like just putting something out there.
Yeah.
We're like, I don't really give a shit. I got C's and D's in school. And so I'm like comfortable with just putting stuff out there because I know something's better than nothing. And I don't know. I mean, I think at the end of the day, like, you know your shit more than almost all the stock YouTubers out there. Yet your need to be perfect in delivery maybe hinders that. I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think that's 100% right. I don't want to, I think YouTube is hard. You make YouTube look easy and you do have a good team around you helping you build it. I think it is difficult because there's a lot that goes into it, like creating great videos that are not going to get ignored by the algorithm, not from a title perspective, from a thumbnail perspective, from a filming, from an editing, it's daunting.
How come you want to do YouTube? How come it matters?
Well, I still think YouTube is probably the best place for discovery of like newer content creators.
Yeah.
I've been on Twitter for like almost 15 years and I put out what I think is a lot of helpful things, but I'm a nobody still on Twitter. And one post on Twitter, even a good one might get a couple hundred likes and, whatever. But on YouTube, you could have one great video you could go from being a nobody to having, 200,000 subscribers in a month.
So I think you made a great argument for YouTube in your book.
Yeah.
Right? You obviously chose
do as I do, not as I say. Yeah. Well, no, do as I do and as I say. I'm just see what people do, and I'm doing YouTube. I think the question that was really interesting, when do you become a somebody? How many likes and follows and subs to become somebody?
Do you feel like you cross the threshold at some point? I want to ask you that.
This is good. This is the thing people are wondering, man. This is the part that everyone's out there that's like, yeah, I kind of been wanting to do this thing. Maybe it's put out a book. Maybe it's put out a video. Maybe it's putting out a service. Maybe it's putting out software. Maybe it's being a professional investor like you guys are.
Yeah.
And they're afraid too. And I think them seeing the realness of other people being fucking human. Like all these guys on YouTube put out fake ass things, but they have so much conviction that they must know some fucking secret we don't know. They don't. That's the reality.
Yeah.
I saw you recently kind of taking some jabs at some people.
Yeah, let's come on that. Hold on. So stick here. I'm trying to be more positive. So yeah, I think for that specifically, I'm a shower, not a grower. No. So I'm a shower, not a teller. Most of these guys tell things. They don't show things. So ask people to start showing things. I show my numbers. You can see my business. You can see our rev. Like I show that stuff when people ask, they want to see it, I can prove it. I have other people show. I think that's such a fascinating question because when is there enough? Like when these people are like, I want to be a billionaire. Why not 900 million? That's pretty good. Yeah. Like I'm worth I don't know if I'm worth over 100. Yeah, I'm probably worth over 100. That's way more than enough. Like even having 10 million is pretty damn great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think there's never, and I go to therapy a lot about it. Like, when is it enough? And how do you find that place, right? There's never enough subs that'll make me feel good. There's never a number that made me feel good. And so that's where it's coming back to what we originally were talking about, is that what do I really like doing that's also producing a result I want? Maybe it's money, maybe it's time, maybe it's connections, maybe it's whatever it could be, that's also that I'm proud of. So I think for YouTube, we put out a video, it's totally flopping, right? And I'm okay. Would I like it to succeed? Yeah, I'm not going to bullshit you. Like, oh yeah, but it's like, okay, well, what can I learn? Let's do it again. And
so you're truly enjoying the journey then. You're like enjoying the whole process.
But for the past 20 years, I've been trying to get to the destination of being liked.
Yeah.
I've been trying, and it still bothers me that if my book is not, I think my book's number 200-ish or something. Yeah, I'm like, fuck, man, am I still worthy? And it's like, yeah, I am, but I have to work through that. And I think the same thing on Twitter. Like, most people don't even get one like, Travis. and how many, and this is, dude, I feel the same. I don't know if that was your dick in my mouth. Or that was you big dick in me. And, I think for myself, like, there's never an amount of likes. Yeah, I want my tweets to perform and I'm going to learn, but there's never an amount of followers that's finally good.
Yeah.
And so I think when we can stop, and this is something I'm working on for probably 20 years, 2 decades, like, how do I reduce the amount of external validation?
Have you achieved that, or are you still like...
It's still a work in progress. It's still, yeah. I think about jealousy of other people that are more popular than me, or people that... I think I'm less as much about money, because I'm at a level where I'm like, there is some truth that it's easy to have abundance when you feel like you have your needs met.
Yeah.
Like, now that I have an awesome wife, baby mama person, I'm like, dude, everyone needs to get one. Now that I have a lot of money, I'm like, everyone needs to get a lot of money. Now that I have, some level of attention. And what's ironic about even the attention stuff, about making it, I wanted it so fucking badly. And I so many times over the years, people are like, dude, you're so much better than people know you for. Like, I don't know why you're not bigger. And for years, I'm like, yeah, bitch, I am. And now that I'd say at some level of notoriety that is prominent, I don't need it, which is fucking annoying. Right? Because like now I don't want it I don't need it. I want it, yeah, but I don't need it. And I think that's working on things yourself to think about, like, hey, you put out banging stuff, and when is it enough for you? And you'll probably start recognizing, like, oh shit, maybe it is actually already there.
It's funny how that works. Like, we've gotten a lot of comments like on We Talk Money. It's like, you guys know you have like one of the best shows about investing out there. You should have millions of subs. And I'm like, yeah, I agree with that too. And like getting to that point, realizing like maybe we're not like mass market attractive. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, we have a very specific person that enjoys our stuff. It's somebody who's like wants to be a professional investor. So coming to terms with that has been kind of hard too. But at the end of the day, it's like, as long as I feel like we're serving people and like they're getting value, I have to tell myself that's enough.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's hard though. I mean,
it is, man. So you guys are achievers.
But let's talk like let's put some specific numbers to this, because I think it's really interesting. Like, we have just over 2,000 followers. We've been doing the show for very consistently, almost every week for what, 3-4 years now?
Yeah, 138 episodes. Yeah.
I mean,
great.
I mean,
I got over 200K on my personal YouTube, but the show, it's like, I think it's just such a specific person.
Yeah, but the investing world is so large.
Big,
and even
yeah.
on YouTube, the amount of investing channels that have 50,000 plus subscribers is pretty huge. And it does seem like there's something missing here. Like we're not doing something right, and like you, I really enjoy doing the show. So like, I don't mind like us not having a ton of subscribers, but it also frustrates me at the same time, because it's like, I do believe we can bring value to more people that they don't even know we exist.
And you guys have great stuff. I know your guys' stuff. Let's unpack that. That's like journalist talk.
Yeah.
So how many subs do you guys have right now?
Well, on YouTube,
and what do you guys measure it by?
Well, it's interesting because we do have like Spotify listeners and things like that, right?
I know, but like, again, this is why you're probably not getting where you want to be. What's the number you're looking at?
Downloads and like YouTube views. So,
well,
we do podcasts.
Pick one.
Huh?
Pick one.
I mean, I would make it even simpler and just say subscribers to the channel.
Great. YouTube or podcasts?
YouTube.
And how many subscribers are on YouTube?
Just a couple thousand right now.
How many?
2,000, like literally 2,000.
Great. So
most people just stayed on my YouTube channel and they never came over.
We did run the show on his YouTube channel for about a year or two. I think.
Yeah.
Okay. So great. So you started this 3 years ago and you're at 2,000 now?
Yeah, maybe not even 3 years ago on like this YouTube channel is way new.
How new?
Like
A
year or two.
A year.
about a
So
year.
you're already at 2,000 after a year. Most people never stick with it. Most people never
Yeah.
get 6 videos.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now here's what I'm going to probably call out. And I think I know the answer. I'm going to write it down. So we'll just see. I'm just going to write down what I know you're going to say for the answer. Okay. I'm just going to write this. Going to do a magic trick. Let's just say you have 2,000 awesome people.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's, you could have 10 million people that don't give two shits about you, but let's just take the 2,000. What's your goal for the end of the year?
I say at 50,000. I mean, that's the goal I put down on my goals list at the beginning of the year, or actually the end of last year.
Yeah, I said 100,000, but then I scratched that because I'm like, I would rather have 50,000 or even 20,000 just loyal, badass guys than 100,000 bullshitters.
All right. So you want quality people, which is
Yeah.
great. So I wrote, we don't have a goal. That's what I wrote for you guys.
Okay.
Because you said 50, you said 20, and then 50, and then 100, and then you said
Yeah,
no
yeah.
goal.
It's
So
not-
you're like,
yeah,
hey, we're not growing. Well, yeah, because you don't know where the fuck you're going.
yeah.
So decide. And one of my things in the past decade that's shifted my leadership is just set more unambitious goals that are compounding. So like you're at 2,000. Let's just get to 5,000 this year. But you guys need to be on the same page.
Right.
Yeah.
A little love triangle between my two studs, and so you guys need to agree on some. And so with AppSumo, we try to grow 5% a year. But when we're doing 5%, it gives us time to experiment with 10x ideas because we're not trying to grow so aggressive. And when it's 5x, the team isn't fucking stressing because they're getting W after W after W after W. And then they're like, yo, let's go try more shit. This is cool. Let's keep doing more of it. They're not stressing that they have to go run so fast because you can't, it's hard to sustain a marathon.
Yeah.
And if you're doing an ultra marathon, that's hard to sustain. If you're trying to do 10 years of content. So I would recommend do whatever you want, but really I would aim for 5,000 subs this year. Agree on a number, make it unambitious, and maybe you guys are doing a lot better than you fucking think. By the way, people, leave some comments, give them some like Cheerios and emojis and some props of how much you guys like their stuff. Because this is also something people miss out on. Like you have 2,000 people that show up.
Yeah.
Like I have 1 million subs, which is fine. Our videos get 50,000 people. My failing video, this last one we put out, got 50,000 people, which is fucking awesome.
It's a stadium of people.
It's a stadium of people, and I still reply to as many of them as I can, and it's still so cool. And I do think in business we get obsessed with these end destinations and external validations, where it's like still pretty amazing, like Felipe or Dieter or Janine or this woman Kat who's say what's up. And they're excited to see what I have to say. How cool is that?
Yeah. I think about it in terms of like real people too. That's why I like doing our in-person events. Like we've done some here in Austin. We've done them in Cayman,
Cayman, really?
Amsterdam. Yeah.
Bro.
Like we've had some dope events and it's that makes it real. Cause I'm like, oh, behind the views and the subs, it's like, those are real people. And a lot of them have made a shit ton of money over the past decade in Bitcoin with me. Or like, when Trav came on, was it 4 years ago?
Yeah.
Is like a lot of people have built very nice stock portfolios. And so I try to remind myself of just like, not about the vanity numbers, but about like the real world impact. And that's why I think I'm going to try to continue doing this for the rest of my life, because I know it has real world impact. And like the vanity numbers, I think are a good goalpost, but it's not the end game, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, that's
do you agree with
discouraging.
that?
I mean, I think burnout happens when you do work you're not getting rewarded for.
Well, I think that's why I brought it up. It wasn't really to cry about the fact
don't think
that
you're
we
crying.
have, yeah. Like,
I don't think you're crying.
I hope I didn't come off that way.
I don't think you did.
Sometimes we talk about like the things in your book, and like there are struggles along the way. Like it is harder for some people, for whatever reason, because either you need to do something different or whatever it may be, right? Like there's definitely things we can improve, but there was some frustration. There has been some frustration.
Yeah, well, it
you know
feels
what I mean?
frustrating when you're doing work not getting a result.
Yeah.
That's like going to the gym for a year and you look the same.
Have you had anything like that in the last couple years of your career?
Well, yeah, I mean, this video today is failing. The last video I did failed. I mean, AppSumo, we were supposed to put out a thing last week. It's not out yet. I mean, I'm failing all the time still. Maybe, and some of it's public. I mean, I put out a video and people are like, well, your video sucks. You're already rich. Like, you shouldn't do it. Now I put a video of another person who has no social media and they're like, this is bullshit too. And so I think, you do have to recognize, like, it's not bad to have goals. I think goals are great.
Yeah.
I like
Do you have one for yourself this year? Like,
Yeah, I always
know in
have
the book you talk about a singular
singular goal. Yeah, I
what
love
is your-
singular goals. So AppSumo's singular goal is 56.6 million net revenue.
Okay.
So that's our singular company goal, which, I was, my job as a CEO is to set the destination and the vision. And it's like, you also have to repeat that shit over and over and over. YouTube,
And that's the revenue that you get after paying the software partners,
that's
right?
net revenue.
Net revenue, right.
So we have gross sales, which will probably be 100.
Yep.
Then there's refunds, then there's credits, and then there's COGS to the partners, and then there's net revenue on that.
Yep.
Gotcha.
And
And then
then-
like salaries and stuff come out of the 50 something million? Or-
Yeah. Net.
So then maybe it's gross profit after the net. Is gross profit after net revenue?
Yeah.
Confused.
Should be. Probably. Yeah.
And then OpEx is after that. So teammates' salaries are around 1.2 million a month. So it's an expensive endeavor. But anyways, so singular goal, AppSumo is 56.6. My book, $1 Million Weekend, is 1,000 Amazon reviews. That's my only goal.
Okay.
I had another goal around how many sales, but I think goals need to be genuine. You need to actually give two fucks about it.
Yeah.
And
Can't just be an arbitrary thing.
I think
that you
people,
pick out of the
I
sky.
love it when people's bios are like, I want to help 1 million entrepreneurs succeed. Like, how many of you helped? Probably none.
Right.
Let's start there. And then secondly, do you really care if it's 1 million? Because I think that's just, it's nothing wrong. I just think those people haven't really thought about it. And so find goals. So my book one is like, 1,000 people have to buy the book. They have to probably read the book and they have to leave a review of the book, which, dude, I'm like begging for this 1,000 number. I've never begged so hard in my life.
Where are you at right now? Do you know?
598.
Okay.
So when you have singular goals in your specific categories that matter, and most people just don't do it. They don't have a clear goal and they don't have a clear timeline. And you just, if you know it, like you guys have 5,000, you guys both say it in unison and then you kiss, and then it's like, then it's very clear to get to those destinations. And then the YouTube channel, the goal is 1.25 million subs, which I'm a little bit less interested in that as much as in the past I wanted to get to. I was more excited when we were trying to get to 250. Now I'm more interested in putting out just 2 good videos a month. So that's probably more what I genuinely care about than if these videos hit 100 or 100 million views per video.
And I guess the benefit there is that's more in your control. Like you can control the output. You can't really control the algorithm or how people respond. So I kind of like that as a goal, is like, what can you put out and do you feel good about it?
Well, I'd say with your guys' videos, though, if you're putting out videos and the subs aren't growing, you have to reconsider it. That would be my point, though.
Yeah.
If you're like, 'cause it's not bad to say, I like more people to pay attention to me.
Yeah.
But then if they're not, it's your job to figure out how do you iterate consistently across these different things.
Yeah.
Right? So my one observation to get to your 5,000 is like, what's been your number one video so far? I'm asking for like, what video's number one thing that you guys have put on the channel that grew the subs or got the watch time?
Well, so one thing that like almost all of our episodes have been the same style of just like looking at the markets, talking about, the economy, what we're seeing happen. And you are basically our second interview that we're putting out on the pod. So
dude, I hope to crush. I hope this is your
this will be the
go
number one.
sub.
It
Like,
will be,
sub to them. But this is the thing I teach in $1 Million Weekend as well. It's the same thing I do at AppSumo. It's the same thing I've done on my YouTube channel. It's the same thing I did on the book. What works? And do a lot more of it. And that's the stupidest. Obviously, I'll say it again. What works, do more of it. But even you guys, like you, and this is the example of it. Go look at your number one video for whatever metric you're optimizing for, subs, watch time, probably subs. What video was that? You guys don't know. So I would check that.
I am actually embarrassed. Right? We don't know.
That's not, no, that's okay.
But I'm guessing it probably would be one of the interview ones we've done.
I don't know.
Over the last, handful that we've done
in
over the
my
last couple
YouTube
years.
channel. Just to give you sorry to cut you off.
No, well, the one thing that I've struggled with internally is that we know that probably if we had a different guest on every week, just like every other podcast, like basically the interview style podcast, that we'd probably grow by leveraging other people's audiences. But, does that make us just the same in a sea of, other podcasts that do interviews every week? And so I actually like, at least, some of the time, having our normal show where we talk about what's going on in the markets, what's happening with this stock, what's happening with Bitcoin, blah, 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 blah. But that doesn't really unlock the growth avenue. So it's like, it's that push-pull between what do you want to make and what actually helps the channel grow, which is, I guess, what you talked about earlier.
There's like an old theory, I haven't thought about this in a while, called the sex cash theory. Like, and it's about Leonardo DiCaprio. Like, he did Titanic, and I think he got like 50 mil or 100 mil to do it. And then he does like Basketball Diaries, right? And the idea is that like Titanic, he's getting cash, and Basketball Diaries, he's getting laid. Right. And so I think the same theory applies to content creation, which is like, what's the thing that, like, so for me, I knock on doors, I go to private jets, I go to yachts, millions of views, no one knows me. Right. So that's the cash part where it's getting exposure. But in terms of the attention, the quality, maybe getting laid, whatever it is, that's the, I would say intimacy is stuff that's more about who I am. And those videos may not be as popular, But that's how you can maybe get more exposure, and then people build a stronger connection to you.
Yeah, because that's like the funnel, right? They come in through that superficial way, and then they're like, "Who is this guy?" And like a portion of them stick and like fall in love with you.
Yeah, like I did this CNBC video sharing my how much I make, and it was 3.3 million, which I haven't shared publicly, but I was like, all right, let's go for it. And so many comments were like, I think I've seen him on a video. So many comments. I like the comments. I like replying to comments, and most people are pretty cool. But it was like, oh, really? That guy? I think I see him talking to people on the streets about getting rich. I didn't know he had money.
Has there been any downsides or dark side to like to having a higher profile, doing the CNBC stuff, talking about numbers?
It's a lot, especially I think I'm having a family. That's made my security and safety higher just to take care of my family.
Yeah.
I'd say that the net has been so positive. Like I was at Austin Airport, and the TSA is like, hey man, I read your stuff and I want to get out of this job. I was like, dude, you're exactly who I'm doing this for. Like, I want you to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Secure me. Let me get through this line faster and make sure keep out the bad dudes, which I think it's fine. I love when people are like, hey man, I liked your book or I liked your material. I took action. That to me is like, and that's how it's always been. But yeah, there's been, crypto, I got crypto hacked. So my accounts were locked for a year. And then I'm definitely more nervous at home, which has been I'm tempted to move to an apartment or move into a gated community just to not have to worry about it. Cause like I'm up last night, example, at 4 a.m., the motion sensor lights are off and I'm hearing creaks around the house. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'm shooting. Right? Yeah. Like I've got, guns in my bedstand and it's just our nightstand. And that's unnerving because people know I have some money. You can probably figure out if people are clever, they could figure out where I live in Austin. And that's very concerning.
Yeah, there's definitely some steps you can take. I went through a big transition probably 5 or 6 years ago when crypto was becoming more popular. I became an immediate target for shit like that. And so we can talk off camera, but in our community, we actually have a whole thing that we do showing people like if you're going to be an investor and you're going to have crypto, like there are definitely steps you need to take to protect not just your online stuff, but like your physical location and your family. And I like that we have the Second Amendment in the US. I think we all now are packing pretty much all the time.
I know, but it's disappointing. And I do think about moving back. My partner and I split time here in Spain. And in Spain, you just don't worry about it. No one has a gun. No one's shooting. Mm-hmm. It's just, you're getting pickpocketed, right? Like you're not getting attacked. You're not worrying about someone coming into your place.
Yeah.
And it's stressful. And I don't like that my partner's thinking about it. I don't like that I'm anxious about it. So it's something that it's disappointing and I'm mindful of, and maybe no one cares to rob me, which would be great. I think that's probably the reality. But the fact that I have to even be aware of it and concerned with it is disappointing.
Yeah.
I mean, Tim Ferriss has talked a lot about this, right? It's the law of numbers. It's like if 1 million people follow you, out of that, if 1 in 100,000 is absolutely batshit crazy, you've got a handful of batshit crazy people that are, paying attention to you. And I think it makes sense. It's reasonable to be concerned about those things. You just got to take some kind of simple steps to secure those things.
I'm just trying to stay mid-tier famous. I keep my mid-tier fame, like low mid-tier within this group of entrepreneurs and crypto and startup people. And I think it'd be pretty good.
Yeah, it's good to have
not McDonald's famous. McDonald's where they know you at McDonald's. Like that shit would suck. But I think just mid-level, I'll stick around for a bit.
Have your little niche.
Also, like, by the way, I've looked into getting full-time private security. It's not that expensive, right? Really? It's really, $70,000. You can have a person for 8 hours, right? $70,000 a year. That's not that bad, right? I don't know if they'll actually take a bullet and protect me though. Because I'd be like, this other person pays him 100 and be like, yeah, he lives here. Just go get it. But you're right though. I don't think people are as mindful, especially if you have some wealth. Like, how much are you protecting your vulnerabilities?
Yeah, there's a guy on Twitter at Lopp, L-O-P-P. He keeps a kind of a public record of all the crypto attacks, like people that have physical attacks against them because they're crypto holders.
Oh, wow.
It's more common than you think. And, we've talked to other, friends in Austin that are, mid-tier famous or wealthy. And it's like, you guys need to take these like minimum steps to protect yourself because there are some fucking bad people out there.
Yeah, it's disappointing. And weirdly, my obsession is watching cop videos, like all the body cam vids.
Yeah.
Which it does make me think everyone's doing all this shit, and it's not true, right? It's definitely because if you're looking for it, you're gonna see it.
Yeah.
But I think your point though is that be prepared. Like, how do you be mindful? I took Tim Kennedy.
Yeah, of course.
So he had a preparedness course. So it was like a weekend workshop. We flew to
Go out
Vegas.
to the ranch, or was it?
I've been to his ranch, but this was in Vegas. Anyone could do it. I don't remember what the program's called, but you can search it. And so it would teach you guns. It would teach you like, hey, what's your house look like? Do you have a plan? So like even last night with my girlfriend, it was great. She's like, hey, if someone came in the house, what are we doing?
Yeah, you need a plan for that. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's great that we're being clear on what that is. And you can actually just think a little bit more. Same with this crypto shit. Like I told you guys, like someone contacted my crypto accounts and said they were my wife and that I died and to send them my crypto. I think I told you a little bit.
Yeah. Why don't you remind
And so
everybody?
then I get I go to my account and it's like locked. And I was like, oh, that's weird. And it's taken me a year to unlock that.
Wow.
It's taken me a year to unlock it. And it's like, oh, wow, that was an interesting vulnerability I didn't think about. Like, yes, I have 2FA, and yes, I have like whitelisting, and yes, I have these things, but like now I'm dead.
Yeah.
And then my girlfriend's like, who's this wife of yours? You know, like, who are you married to?
Yeah.
And I'm like, baby, just you, just you. And so now it's like moving it to, other things.
Yes. You shouldn't have it on an exchange long term anyway. And there's definitely redundancies and things you can do to keep that really secure.
Also, you can just give it up, give it to someone else and you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, man. Just, put it on a wallet, hand it over. I'll take really good care of it. There's like 10 impersonators of me having conversations online right now trying to do that to people. So yeah, there's that whole shit.
I know. I mean, at the same time, I always am mindful, like when people talk about what a cool problem, not a cool, but what a great problem to have. Like I have people ask me like, how do I scale my business? And I'm like, make it a problem. Like get 2 customers. That's not your problem yet. So we have a problem that we're making so much money and we have notoriety. Like these are good problems. Make good problems in your life.
Yeah.
Like have so many customers, you don't know what to do with it. Have money that you now have to worry about security. Like not a bad problem. And then by the way, you don't have to be public to make a lot of money. I think that's a big misconception.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of big wealth with small networks or small audiences.
I was reading through the book again today, and I was just thinking about like different ideas and trying to go through as like somebody reading it. And like when you go online and you look up like business ideas or like how to make money online, it's like there's always a fad, right? There's always like drop shipping or crypto or whatever,
AI.
right? And are there, Shopify, like, are there any like niches or ideas that have come to your attention recently that aren't over swamped?
I'll literally give you 3. Your best problems are your own. Start there. Start with your credit card bill even. Like, what have you spent money on? Let me give you an example. Today, I literally told you guys an idea already. Went to Walgreens, got my passport photo taken, got my girlfriend's photo taken, $85. Anything that's a problem is a business opportunity. Anything you've avoided, like putting up my painting, is a business opportunity. So that's a great example. Okay, passport photos, I have to drive to Walgreens. The person, it's hard for them to figure out how to take a photo for some reason and print these out. And it costs a shit ton of money. Could I do mobile passport photos? So in the book, I break out then how do you test it? Great. You can test that in a weekend. Second thing, I was frustrated with my DocuSign bill. I was just frustrated with my DocuSign bill. We spent $1,000, some crazy amount at AppSumo. That's not very complicated tech. Can I see if other people have that problem? I followed the $1 Million Weekend process and we launched it yesterday. It's called breezedoc.com. Pay once, you get it forever. DocuSign alternative.
Nice.
So it's noticing the areas that you're spending money on, you're frustrated in, you wish existed, or that are working. So I'll give you another business idea example. So I've launched $1 Million Weekend at milliondollarweekend.com, and I hired a firm. They made a landing page for me. We updated the landing page, and I put my Amazon affiliate links on it. So I was like, yeah, it's fine. Turns out I made $3,000 for my Amazon affiliate links just having people buy the book from my site anyways. Then I was like, oh, that's kind of, so look for things that people have acknowledged or things that are working. So then I had the idea today, literally, I was like, what if I just made the template free? And then when you put in your links, all you have to do is that you have to give me the Amazon affiliate link, or we have to split the revenue.
Yeah.
And then I would just message people like, hey, my links, this is free. All I ask is that if you get revenue, you give me half, or you just give me all the revenue. But my point is that I was like, oh shit, this is working really well for me. Is there a way that I could turn this, now that I know it works, into some type of business? And maybe it's not just book sales. Maybe you do it for courses. Maybe you do it for community pages. You actually create free things for them, but you share some of the revenue because you're actually you're doing the conversions for them.
Yeah.
But that was just because I noticed it worked on my business that I built, that I was like, oh, maybe there's something I've been doing that I could turn into a business. And that's a great example of it.
Love it.
Yeah.
Do you tend to like bias towards products or services, or it doesn't matter?
I like doing things that I think I can do for 10 years. And it's hard because then the thing in business is you can psych yourself out of everything, and you're one Google search away from a competitor. You're one Google search away from saying, someone already thought of my great idea. And it's like, don't worry about that. You didn't even know they existed until that search. So just do it as practice. I tend to go to high margin activities. Look at what I do. I do high margin businesses. What's high margin software?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't cost a lot to keep issuing it. And the other thing I've tended to veer towards is being more platform oriented, meaning instead of creating AI, create the thing that talks about AI. And you're just the platform where everyone else is talking about it, or you're just talking about a bunch of different AI tools, right? That my last business before this was a payment system. It was payments for Facebook games and social games. It's because I started, and that's what chapter 1's about. I built games and I realized building games sucks, but the payments thing was interesting because I hated my payments provider, opportunity. And then I didn't care what game worked. I just cared that I could do payments for games. And so most people, what they're doing incorrectly in terms of these businesses is they're saying, what's the business model that can work for me? No one cares about your model unless you're literally a model. No one cares about it. They care about their problem. And same thing with AI or crypto or Shopify or blogging or content creation or whatever. That's a solution, right? AI is the solution. What's the problem? And I think if you can be mindful of the problem, like someone today was like, I want to help people do contracts. Great. Use Microsoft Word. It's free. And do contracts and see if you can get it. And then yes, build software. Or another great example, someone emailed me and said, I'm starting a bagel business, but I want to deliver them by drone. This is real. This is real.
Oh, wow.
This is real. And I was like, how many bagels have you sold? Oh, I haven't sold any. Well, yeah, I know. Sell a bagel. And then you can hand drone deliver it yourself.
Yeah.
And then when you have so many of them outside of your vicinity, now let's think about that. But that's him being excited about a solution. Drone, crypto, AI. No one cares about that stuff. I think it's being mindful that, maybe he's in Germany. Maybe in Germany, it's really hard to find a good American New York bagel. That's a good problem. Or someone showed me a great problem last night. Improved dental floss. I use this dental floss. Do you guys ever floss? I'm not a big flosser, but I'm starting to. Does your floss ever break?
Yeah, of course.
It always why is it breaking? We're going to space. Figure out the fucking floss. This guy's like, hey, I have floss that doesn't break. I'm like, you're a goddamn genius, dude. And so that's a great problem.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not that he's a NASA scientist. I think he lives in a car, this guy. I don't even know who his name is, Kevin. And it's, I think ropeteeth.com or something like that. But he started just selling it. And he's like, yeah, I kind of figured it out. And I found one that actually doesn't break. Sold it. Then he built the website, and now he's like selling it. And I can see that being $1 million business. I don't know if it'll be a year or 2 years, but as long as he sticks with it, that will be $1 million business.
Love it. How do you deal with so you're CEO right now, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, supposedly. They keep me around.
Yeah.
Let me see. I think it's ropeteeth. Yeah, ropeteeth.com.
Nice. How do you deal with say you have a big problem or like a lawsuit or like somebody quits or like something really shitty happening over here? How do you deal with the mental side of compartmentalizing and moving on and still being productive? Is that easy for you? Is it hard? How do you do that?
So we had our VP of finance quit a month ago, and then we had a lawsuit 3 weeks ago. Did you talk to someone at our company?
Yeah.
And then
no,
we had to let go of someone last week, and we had to let go of someone this week. I mean, these are just, I would say in my 20s and 30s, I was very fuck you, emotional, reactive. I think I just think of one phrase, and it's called pause and respond. That's my main phrase now. So when the VP of finance quit, I paused and I was like, okay, let me just sit with this for a bit versus reacting. And I think that alone really solves a lot of these problems. Like most problems overnight get solved, meaning it's not solved overnight, but with a good night's sleep and a clear head, I'm like, maybe we can find another VP. Maybe this person can stay on. Maybe we'll find someone that can fill gaps that he wasn't doing a great job in. And same thing with these lawsuits. Like there's certain lawsuits we've been getting, and I think they're honestly vultures and pieces of shit. I think they're fucking scum. Because like we have worked dollar for dollar, promoting deals, helping customers, building a team to earn these dollars. And these people are, I think, not even giving us a chance to fix what they're claiming we've done. Like it's just vulture bullshit. And it's like, okay, I can get mad and react. Like I can get triggered. And that's why each week I measure myself on my emotional consistency. That's part of my survey that I was telling you guys earlier. And I was like, how much is it going to cost to have this resolved? Great. It sounds like that's something. And then let's fix this. But pausing and responding. I think the other thing separate of that is as you grow a company to some size, like you're not solving the problem. So do you have the right people that solve the problems? And that's something I've really had to work on. And it's like, do I trust these people? Do they trust me? And do I trust that I have the right people around me? So Alona, for instance, we had these lawsuits and I was like, Alona, can you handle it? I got it. So do you have a I got it attitude and I got it people around you? Or we're hiring the VP of finance replacement and I was giving some feedback about certain things. And then I was like, Alona, do you have it? She's like, I got it. Psh, great. And so making sure, one, you pause before you react to things, you pause and actually respond. And maybe as you get to it, even a team of 5 or 10 or 100 or 1,000, do you have the people around you? And if you don't, that's an opportunity to frankly level them up or level them out.
Ooh, I love that. Level up or level out. I think you're really good at that, like handling big stressors. And
I've had a lot of experience with stress in my life. So thankfully I've gotten a little better at it. Yeah. But I love that the idea that you mentioned first, which is sit on it for a bit. Don't let your first reaction be, that reaction that you don't want to happen, because like you're likely going to shoot off an email and piss more people off or
100%.
screw something up, right?
100%.
Or like get in a fight with your girlfriend and say some stuff you didn't really want to say. That's going to like hurt her, et cetera. But all right, I got a couple of rapid fire questions.
Let's hit it, dude.
Will you write another book?
One thing I want to add just to that, I think what's really powerful for everyone is noticing when we're getting triggered.
Yeah.
Because everyone's got a different one. Like it could be when someone's being dumb. It could be, I got triggered. I get triggered almost every day. And being triggered is not bad. It's noticing you're getting triggered and trying to start working on those things. Was I getting triggered? I was triggered. I was triggered yesterday because I didn't make the New York Times third week because someone didn't do something. But then I was like, do you really even, then I paused, I was triggered, then I took a step back, and then in the morning I was like, did you even try to make the list? Was that your whole thing? No, I was trying to write a book at 1,000 reviews, came back. But noticing when you're getting triggered, write it down, and then you'll start noticing your patterns and you can start actually working on it.
I love that because a lot of people hide from it.
Everyone's got a trigger. Everyone's got triggers, probably
like,
multiple.
For me, whenever I'm triggered, I almost like don't want to think about it. I like want to suppress it, but it's like, bring it up and go, why did I get triggered?
Yeah.
Oof.
In terms of writing a second book, no.
Okay. Yeah, I was curious because I know a lot of people talk about after writing a book how just exhausting of a process it is, and so it's always interesting to ask.
I think it's kind of similar to pregnancy, where a woman, my girlfriend's pregnant, and I didn't realize how hard it is for the woman, like how it's insanely hard on their bodies, on their mental states, all these things, yet they still keep doing it, right? And the reality is that once it's out and and your baby's there and you're loving it, you want to do it again. I think my reality in this, I think I want to keep this for a decade. I mean, you talked about 10 years. Like I think I can promote this for the next 10 years. The stuff I teach is timeless. I think if I were to do another book, I would probably want a more broader topic, because the amount of people that want to start business, I think a lot do, but the amount of people that want to habit is everyone in the world. The amount of people that want to improve their teeth is everyone in the world. So I think I'd be mindful about having a larger, that's what I teach in the book. Like this many people don't do entrepreneurship. This many people want to find a husband or wife, this many people want to improve their habits. So potentially a larger topic, but at least not for a decade, if not longer.
That makes sense. Okay. Next question. Is there an entrepreneur or business person that you look up to or that you really admire?
There's 3 that these are people I want to get on my show. So same on shows, you can, you start a show, you can just talk to your idols or talk to your friends, talk to cool people, and you can even get paid to do it. The 3 that I'm interested in is Dave Portnoy from Barstool Sports, because it's hard to stay relevant, especially in those categories. Like there's a lot of these like overnight flameouts in different like frat humor, frat sports. And it's been interesting for him to build a $1 billion business and being relevant after so long. And he also seems insane to some extent. I don't know if he is. Maybe that's part of his thing. But I'd be curious just to learn more about that. I admire Michael Rubin. Michael Rubin has Fanatics.
Yep.
So he's literally the clothing manufacturer of every single sports team for individuals. So when you buy like a jersey, it's from his company. I don't know how the fuck he did that. And he owns like part of the Sixers, and he helped Meek Mill. And he just seems like a really interesting guy. So I'm curious to learn. And he started middle class, it seemed like, or that's how the story goes. And I'd say lastly, Bezos. I think his personal life lately to me is more, he dated a Latina, so I'm dating a Latina. He went bald, I went bald. So
you guys are basically the same guy.
He's like my brother.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's gotten really enough credit for all the innovation that he did in terms of leadership style. I think the company's definitely not like him anymore, but like leadership style, failure encouragement, innovation, right? Like belief in a big vision, obsessiveness with customers, and also stopping. That guy's, I think he was like 50, he's 54 when he finally stepped out. Like, what a baller ass move. Most of us, like, look at Musk. That guy's fucking miserable.
Yeah. Bezos is definitely living his best life.
He seems like he's living his best life. And I think there's so much admiration around, like, this guy's working and he's going to, and Bezos seems like he's figured out a way to balance it.
Yeah.
He's I'm just going to sell this. And then he sold like how many billions worth of
about eight and a half billion, I think, of stock. But he still owns like,
and that's probably because it's a planned sale. Most of these guys don't sell because Musk sold because he had to fund Twitter. Bezos has planned sales, same as Zuckerberg. I think people look at it as like, oh, they're selling, they're not worried about it. It's not that. I think it's just because part of their estate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I just think it's cool that he did that and then like just decided to get a yacht and get jacked and like go fucking have fun. Like,
I do think people are sleeping on Blue Origin, by the way. Like he is putting a good amount of time and money into his space venture, and like they've been quietly doing some very interesting things. And I think in like 10, 15 years, it's going to be evident what that means. But
yeah, I'll throw one other person. I like throwing people that are not as much getting attention, but Frank Slootman.
Yeah.
That guy's a fucking G, dude. He's like the G of all
the
G.
CEO of Snowflake.
Oh, Snowflake. Yeah. He's done like, this is his third unicorn that he is CEO'd.
Wow.
And so we use Snowflake, and like I've emailed him, he replied. I'm trying to get him on the show. He's
a beast.
He's wrote Amp It Up. His book is one of the top 10 business books.
Yeah. Are there any YouTube creators that you particularly look up to or admire on the creative side, or any channels you've just like been vibing with lately?
I'll tell you what I watch. I mean, I don't watch any business people. I only watch my videos.
Yeah.
You should like the material. It's like jerking off to your own photo, which is a bit weird, but I like my content a lot. I'm proud of what our team puts together.
Good. Yeah.
I like
it's good stuff.
I like listening to, thank you.
Yeah.
I like listening to my podcast. I like it. And I think people that's like, really? I'm like, yeah, it's okay to be proud of what we do.
We do that too. I think
it's great.
Listen to all our own episodes and
you can improve. Yeah. You can improve. On YouTube, I actively watch Power Play Chess. It's just, I like people that just, they're not trying. Like he literally just analyzes games and he's got 100,000 sub channel, just kind of doing his thing, which I really admire versus my stuff. It's like a lot of effort.
Yeah.
It's a whole production.
Yeah.
And I do want to keep some of that up, but I want it to be a little bit more like me talking about AppSumo without as much production and seeing if I can balance my sex cash theory with that. I watch 2 poker vloggers, Brad Owens and Rampage. I like seeing how they play poker. I don't necessarily watch the beginning and ends of the shows, just their poker moments.
Do you play poker?
I'm a watcher.
Okay.
I play, but I like to watch them.
Okay.
I enjoy that. And lately I'm watching a lot of body cam footage on the cops, man. It's like drunk drive. I like the drug busts.
Okay.
Because it's always, and I love this quote. It's like, and this is true for life, like the minor things turn into major things. And I think I think about that. Don't let minor things turn into major things. Like if you're bothered about one thing, don't let it like fall into major activities. Don't make it a macro thing. And I like that because they always get caught for like a tinted window. And I'm like, bro, you've got a lot of fentanyl, man. Like one, I think certain drugs are not fentanyl, but some should be legal. But like you got busted on stupid shit, dude. Just drive the speed limit. Users take the turn signal.
Yeah.
I think
do you ever watch like home invasion stuff or like gun defense things to get better as a carrier?
I watch UFC, but I think it's kind of like watching doesn't mean you're better, right? Like watching a lot of cooking things doesn't mean you're better cook. You have to be in the kitchen. And I think the same thing with these gun stuff. Like, I think people are like, you got a gun, like shooting another human, imagine this, someone's in your fucking house at 4 a.m. and you heard them break your window. I think people are like, yeah, man, I'll just walk over there. I'll watch some YouTube videos, bing, bing. Like, no, you're going to be like,
yeah,
where's my gun? Do I have my thing on me? And so I think you have to, same with starting a business. You can watch me talk about a business. You can read the book, but eventually you have to get in the kitchen.
Yeah, exactly. It's like if you want to be a professional golfer, you can watch TV all day, but you got to go to the driving range and shank and learn the rules and get real practice in. And the same is true for a gun. Like I'm going to the range all the time.
Gotta go to the range, man.
Yeah. So watching the videos is like situationally like learning, but then going and
you got to do both.
You got to do draws, you know?
Oh yeah.
Same is true for trading, investing, building a business. Like the skill development process is the same no matter what you're doing.
Yeah. Well said.
I also like the fishing channels. I like the catch and cooks. Watch they catch it and then they like make the meal out there. There's a guy like Howler, Makery and Mischief. He won Alone season 3 or so. He's really interesting.
There was that you turned me onto that channel with the Australian guy on who's on
True
the
Bloods.
boat.
I find him a little. I know him. He's fine. I don't look. Here's the thing. When people like judge YouTubers, they're making at least they're doing something.
Yeah,
it's good. And they're entertaining us. I don't care for him, but there's a lot of other. There's Deer Meat Eater who's good. There's this Asian guy. I don't know his name, but he's got a good channel. Nick Krasinski's fishing in Key West. His stuff bangs. I like the True Blood. It's like too many. He has a hot chick on the thumbnail, and I'm like, I'm watching the video. There's no hot chick.
Yeah,
right. And it's just like, bro, you teased me.
You got to do the beast the protocol where it's like you got to give them the thing that they're expecting on the thumbnail right away.
I don't watch any Mr. Beast, or to me, it feels like Netflix. It's like, what am I getting out of it?
The pace is crazy on those videos to me. I know that is to capture attention and keep it, but for me, it almost turns me off at how quick the cuts are and how quick the pace is in some of those videos. I'm like, I would like to hear a little bit more about this little thing that you just said that you didn't address at all. You know, it's interesting.
Well, I think, to your guys' thing around, everyone's advantage is everyone's weakness is someone else's advantage.
Yeah.
So Mr. Beast does all that. There's a chance for that. Yeah. What you're saying. So an example of this is I'm interviewing billionaires, right? Like that's the thing I frankly enjoy. I like seeing people that have done certain things that are just, that I care about, for me, I find them interesting. But then there's an opportunity. I've seen these guys come up like Brett Menelowski, Starter Story, that are interviewing guys who make $1 million.
Yeah.
Like, how'd you get $1 million? And I've like talked to them and they're like, I'm like, you want me to come on your show? And they're like, dude, you're making 80 million. Like, I'm not making that myself, but we don't want you. I'm like, oh, great. And so my point is that like if someone's over here, there's another playing field where you can win in your own area.
Yeah. Well said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's crazy how many niches there are, even within broad topics, like how many sub niches and even below that there are.
The thing with content creation, there's only one thing, and it's sustainability. You will win if you sustain and keep improving. That's literally the secret.
Yeah.
You just do it, and every time you get we have a thing called Law of 100, and I have a site called lawof100.com. It's totally free. So for YouTube, you just make 100 videos, and every day you just check. Every time you do it, you just check in. If you get to 100, most people never get past 6.
Yeah. Is that like an accountability thing, or what's the?
Yeah. What I noticed is that for me and a lot of people, if you can get to 100 and you keep improving, at 100 you can make a good decision to quit. So at least get to that point. I think that's a nice benchmarker for a lot of people. So somebody who read the book bought the domain, built a site, and then I bought it from him, and then we just made it free.
Nice.
And so the idea is like letting other people, use it as their own tools. I like the fact that he just took action.
Nice. So I bought a box of these.
Dude.
And I was trying to figure out like what to do with them. I'm thinking about doing a giveaway or something. Who should I give these out to? How should I give them away?
I mean, what's your goal?
I don't know. Just whoever needs it, right? Like that's my thing.
Spread the wisdom of Noah.
Yeah, maybe like and subscribe to the channel.
All
and
right.
then, or do you have people in your community who are already paying you money?
Yeah.
Why don't you give them the books?
Yeah. Okay. We'll do that.
Yeah. Reward.
Yeah. Go to wetalkmoney.com/community. Get in there and I don't know. We'll do a giveaway or something.
Give away to them or give away to the people who join from this video.
Yeah. Okay.
How much is it for a month?
$197.
Oh, that's a lot. Okay.
Yeah.
You're going to get serious people, I'm guessing.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, we filter out all the idiots that are just looking for like
jokers,
trade alerts. It's like,
but I like that. Yeah. I would give it to the next, I mean, would you buy 50, 20, 10?
I don't even remember.
But anyway, the next 10
that
that get it, you're going to give out the book. I think that's a great idea. And then give it maybe half to them and half to people who are already existing members.
Yeah.
All
right,
right,
we'll
make
figure
sure some of them write a review on Amazon.
Oh, please.
That's the thing. If you get a book from us, you have to leave a 1-star, 2-star what kind of review are we looking for?
No, anybody who reads this book will definitely be leaving at least a 4-star.
Yeah, definitely a 5. Definitely a 5. I think it's, there's few books that are like make money books that I think are worth a read. This is definitely one of them.
Thank you.
I like that you don't bullshit around and that you get straight to the point and so much of it's actionable.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I try to do the thing that's crazy is there's literally a gajillion business books out there. So why do we need another one?
Yeah.
But if there's so many out there, why isn't it that everyone has success in starting an entrepreneurship?
Yeah.
So it's like still something is missing. And I think we've put together something unique that's the two major areas for starting and asking, and then, a very specific technique that I'm seeing, I know works for me, I know works for others. And if people follow it, will have success for themselves.
Well said, man. No, thanks for coming in, man. This has been real.
Namaste.
And yeah, man. Looking forward to doing this giveaway. Where else can people reach out to you? Or
if they on the podcast world know Kagan, grab the book for free from your community if they're in it. Otherwise, milliondollarweekend.com, and send me updates when people take action at Noah Kagan.
Oh yeah. All right, man. Thanks for joining.
Yeah.
Boom.
Noah,
Long distance.
you're the man, brother.
Boom.